Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the second session of our three-part series, From STEMs to Social Media, How to Have a Strategically Successful Holiday Plan. This second session, How to Get Customers Online and Through the Door, focuses on marketing. Keith Harbison, AIFD, FTD Senior Manager of Quality, will be moderating today's session. As a quick housekeeping note, we will open up the session for questions at the end. If you have a question, simply type it in the chat box in the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. Feel free to submit your questions during the session. So let's get started, Keith.
Thanks, Janet, and welcome everybody. Excited to be here and be your MC again today. Today, as Janet mentioned, we're going to talk about marketing, and I think our great panel here is going to share some of their ideas, what works for them, and maybe you'll be inspired to spin off ideas from there and grow your own business. So I think it's an exciting next step in the series. And welcome back if you were here last week, and welcome if you happen to miss it. But don't worry, you can go back and watch the other recording from the previous week. And this is a new topic, so kind of a brand new day. So before we get started, let's go ahead and meet the panel. We have three great florists here with us today. Panel, as I introduce you, please give a wave or say hello. And here we go. So first panelist we have is Leah Van Ness. She's from Leah.
Hi.
A chance to say hello, right? Leah is a co-owner of Montville Florist in Uncasville, Connecticut.
Very good.
I still got it right, yeah?
You did great.
I know, I'm learning. Second here we have Stacy Lee Banks. Hey, Stacy. Stacy is the co-owner of Lee's Flower and Card Shop in Washington, D.C. And finally, we have Jonathan Morrissey. Jonathan is from Richmar Florist in Allentown, Pennsylvania. So great. So you've met the panel. As Janet mentioned, we're going to talk about marketing. And let's jump right into the questions for today. Stacy, we're going to start with you. And kind of just from the ground floor. So when you start thinking about your peak period, how do you determine your marketing budget, and how do you work a plan for that?
Well, our marketing budget, we have never really kind of set one. We just found out we hired a marketing consultant, and she gave us her price, and that turned out to be the budget. But it's really, it's what she does, or what we use. What we do for marketing is we do a lot of the like direct mail, email marketing with the constant contact. Which is a great mechanism to get your marketing, your emails out to a large section of your customers. We have about 9,000 people emails on our constant contact. We also do a trade with the local radio station where they we trade product for airtime, which is a really in the DC market, that's a very expensive market to get airtime on. So we really enjoyed that trade with the local radio stations, and we get a lot of feedback on that.
So let me ask you a quick question, if you don't mind. So the marketing budget you said was determined really by the cost of the company that you work with. Was that I can't imagine that had to be a big step to go to a professional to kind of run that for you. So is that something you had to grow into?
Absolutely.
Or was it kind of an all-in type situation?
No, we kind of grew into this. So this person, she's a consultant. She doesn't work for us. So we have a meeting with her every Monday to determine what we're going to do moving forward for the week. So we started out doing direct emails every week, and then we kind of scaled it back because we didn't want to oversaturate our customers with emails. So we kind of scaled it back to about 2 a month, and that's been working for us. It's we for holidays like International Women's Month, just different holidays. I think a couple of weeks ago was Employee Day, National Employee Day. I didn't even know about that, but she keeps me. They keep me abreast of all these obscure little holidays that they put on the calendar, and so that's what we do.
That's great.
It's easy.
Yeah, it sounds like what I'm hearing from you is that kind of worth their weight, right, or worth the cost, because they're remembering you all the smaller holidays or opportunities that you might be missing.
Absolutely.
That's great. Hey, Jonathan, how about you? How do you guys determine what your budget is you're going into a holiday?
We have pretty structured budget throughout the year, so we're always looking somewhere in that 5 to 7, 9% range is usually a good rule of thumb to use for your marketing. You always want to try to hold on to the people that you already have, but maybe broaden your audience a little bit. So one of the things that we'll try to do is do a mix of different things: social media, organic searches, billboards, TV, radio. I don't really do much in the print anymore, unless it's like a specialized magazine I'm actually looking at. But appealing to the masses definitely gives you a better shot at nailing down some sales.
Excellent. And Leah, how about you? Do you have a budget for marketing throughout the year or towards the peak holiday?
We don't. We are perhaps not a typical florist in that way, or our approach to our business is not typical. We are the only florist in our town. And so we refer or rely a lot on word of mouth. Anytime an organization approaches us to have us go and talk about flowers, we will certainly take advantage of that opportunity, whether it is a second grade classroom that's learning about plants, or it is a senior citizen center where we will create a flower arrangement with them. And that really has strengthened our connection with the community. We are big on behind the scenes information. So it makes the people in our community feel like they know secrets about our store, that they are part of the bigger picture. So it is working for us. So we rely more heavily on word of mouth than actually any of the other forms of marketing.
Yeah, I find that interesting. I think it's a good reminder, right, that not to just throw money, into the wind if it's really not going to be useful. So kind of trying things and testing things and realizing who you are in your marketplace, I think, is important.
Absolutely. Over the course of years, where our store has been around for about 35 years, we have done all different kinds of marketing, trying to get people to come into the store. And in our instance, and I can only speak for our store, we got the same customers that came in to take advantage of any special sales. So we really felt we had already connected with that audience. And so we were looking for ways to connect with different people.
Perfect, thank you. So Jonathan, the next question here is, what are the steps you take and who's involved in pulling your marketing plan together?
I'm putting my college degree to good use here. So I do a lot of our marketing planning. I was just thinking about this the other day when I took over 18 years ago, how drastically different our marketing is versus where we were at 18 years ago and just where we were at as a company in that time period. This is just coming up on the anniversary of me joining the company. So it'll be 18 years this year. We're always looking to do something different and something outside of the box. So something outside of the box can be something as simple as just, taking photos of unusual flowers, or, when COVID was going on, we were taking videos of people getting flowers and how excited they were, when they were getting it, at their door. We do a lot of fun stuff with sports. We do a lot in racing. So sometimes you'll see us post, our banner at a hockey game, or, our logo on a race car driver, or a race car driver wearing, our stuff, or celebrities getting flowers from us. So, those creativity things and outside the box thinking engages your audience, quite a bit. And, of course we all do the same thing every day. We're always in flowers, but I encourage all of you to just kind of think outside the box and think, what do I do differently than other people? Like Leah said, maybe it's having a picture taken while you're giving a discussion to senior citizen group. I think those are all amazing things that we do that we probably undersell ourselves on. So that just ties right into the marketing. And, for us being a larger shop, you need to cover all kinds of bases. So we're always trying to cover a broad audience and keep building the brand. Like that's always the goal. Build.
So you talked about different things that you do. So and I hear this question quite often. How do you track your successes?
A good way to track them is to use promo codes. Or have your employees, when they're on the phone with people, say, "Hey, how did you find us today? Did you see us here? Did you hear about us there?" Your contact forms on your website are also a good spot too. People are just going to send in a form and say, they have a generalized question, or even a wedding inquiry, or a funeral inquiry, whatever the inquiry is. Have a section there that people can put how they found out about you. In most cases, people will tell you, "Oh yeah, I saw you, on the billboard. I saw you on TV, or I heard you on the news." People are definitely going to tell you how they find you, but it's up to you and your employees to ask how they actually did get to that point, especially if it's new customer. We definitely want to know how we're getting them.
Great feedback. Stacey, you already shared a little bit about, that you work with a consultant, and they pull a lot of your plan together for you. How does your consultant, along with you and your sister, how do you guys track your successes? Is that something left up to them, or is that something that you guys do as a group?
Well, similar to what Jonathan was saying with the promo codes, and we've been recently putting postcards on our arrangements, and that's a good way to track. If someone calls in and says, "I got the postcard," that's a way of tracking through sales. And let's see, with my sister and I, as you mentioned, she is the social media guru. My sister is, and I can't tell you how many people come in and say that they saw us on the gram or Instagram. And so that attracts a lot of people, and just word of mouth, and people coming in and saying they saw us on social media. So
Okay.
It's kind of, I don't know what, yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Word of mouth.
So I'm going to stay right here with you, Stacey. Tell us a little bit about, what you found recently. What are your do's and don'ts for a holiday? Is there something specifically that you want to make sure that you do? Are there some things that you've done that haven't been as successful for you?
I would say one of my things was, whatever product you offer on your marketing, make sure that you have a lot of that product, because you'd be surprised at the amount of people that will call and say, "I want that arrangement that I saw on your email." And so just making sure that you plan to have the enough product to fulfill the orders. Do's, just market to your customers.
Got it. How about you, Jonathan? Any definite do's and don'ts?
And one of the big do's is you still need to remember that you're going to do business every day. So obviously you want to market on a holiday, but you don't want to forget about the everyday business, because we all need that to survive to get to the holiday. So everyday marketing is really important, and I think that one of the things that our company has done a great job is kind of latching on to something bigger than itself. Whether we're involved with a sports team, or whether we're involved with a celebrity, or we're involved with a larger business, wherever we can kind of like use that tagline, like proud partner of, or we want to harness everybody's social media abilities or everybody's brand and latch it to ours. So anytime you're doing something exciting, or maybe some of you have some deals with some places, whether it's a symphony hall, it's a sports arena, it's a park, it's it's a nonprofit, they have larger audiences than we have. So attaching your name to all of those things is definitely important in building your brand. And whether you're starting out or whether you've been at it for 20 years, there's always ways to build the brand. And that's what we've been very successful with, is just finding new avenues and using those avenues over and over again. So like the baseball team in the area, we've been with them for 12 plus years. We're still with them even through COVID. So keeping that loyalty and that brand loyalty there, so that when people think baseball and they think flowers, they're thinking of us, and finding new things. It's always, you always want to keep building. If I can pound anything in your head today, is just build, and look for things that are larger, have a larger reach than you do.
I love that tip. You think about your own personal experiences as a shopper, right? And I like to connect myself when I'm shopping with people who are connected in the community, right? And give back to the community and those types of things. So you see somebody who's that involved, I think that's a great tip, a great takeaway for everybody. So Leah, how about you? Any do's and don'ts for the holiday?
I would agree with Jonathan. We always laugh and say, we have to remember that we're going to be open the next day to make sure that we have flowers to fulfill any orders that, will be coming in down the line. And also realize that we aren't just delivering flowers to a new customer for that one holiday. We want them to enjoy our flowers so much that they look to us in the longer term, that we are extending that opportunity to become a connection, so that they would look to Montville Florist to fulfill other floral needs. So we want to make sure that we under promise and over deliver, so that we are guaranteed to wow them with the flowers.
Excellent. All right, let's move on to something a little different, and talk a little bit more about something specific. So what are your most effective digital marketing tactics that you execute and use in the holiday? Jonathan, we can start with you.
Sure. We've done digital billboard for a couple of years. I thought maybe our ads got a little stale. So last year when, Mother's Day, when everybody was home with COVID, I went back to our digital people and said, listen, we need something that's really going to hit home. We need somebody that's driving to the billboard, is going to see something and say, yeah, I should definitely send my mom flowers. We had an excellent campaign, based on seeing people from a distance and sending flowers, which I thought was awesome. So digital billboard is definitely affordable. And it's not something that you're stuck with a month later, the same image. You can have multiple different images up there, which is, something that we did for Valentine's Day, for Mother's Day, for Christmas. We're sending multiple messages across different areas. So even though you sit at that traffic light every day and you stare at that billboard, there's something different on there. And, on the flip side of digital, would be the SEO, SEM, your paid advertisements, what you're doing on that end. Even just the simplest of things, even taking $100 a month or whatever you can budget out is definitely important in building your website and building your brand online.
And do you have an internal person, Jonathan, that handles a lot of that?
Yeah, you're talking to him. Yeah.
I kind of figured that was going to be the answer. So
yeah.
So we have one more follow-up question for you. So is that kind of was that something you learned along the way, or was that something that you with the school?
I would say, I got a good feel from it. I'm proud of my alma mater, King's College in Wilkes-Barre, PA. I got a great feel for it. I had some great professors there that kind of molded me into it. I kind of watched what my parents did all those years, but then started to learn more things along the way. As the times changed, I changed with them. So we moved away from maybe some of the traditional things and into these non-traditional approaches at marketing. So I think it's always about finding your demographic. It's finding what your customers want to see and maybe what you're passionate about too. I mean, obviously we're passionate about, sports as a family. So it's great to be a part of these things that are there. Maybe you're passionate about music, or maybe you're passionate about education. Whatever you're kind of passionate about, always trying to find those things, kind of meshing them together. Definitely, will result in more sales and just putting yourself in a better mood. So I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, I always feel like there's some paralysis, right, for small businesses trying to figure out how to dip their toe in that water if they haven't been in the digital side of it. So I think that's great. Stacy, how about you guys as far as digital marketing tactics? Did your son do most of that, or your sister? It sounds like your sister.
Yeah, my sister is that as I said earlier, she's our social media guru, and she works together with our marketing consultant to put together campaigns, and they post them on social media as well for these different holidays, as we mentioned. We also we host events at the shop pre-COVID, of course, where the community would come out. We had local musicians to play music at the shop, and that drew a lot of people in, as well as our happy hour on Fridays. That brings people in the shop as well.
And then you share those out. You share those out digitally.
Yes. When we would post those out, people would come. They would really come every Friday.
Great. Stacy, Leah, how about you as far as digital goes?
We have found for a number of years we had a shop cat, and every time we put a picture of our cat on the on any sort of social media, it drew a huge amount of attention. She was a quirky little cat that had a huge personality. And so due to the location of our store being on a very busy street, the cat never went outside the store. But because she would be in our window, there were so many people that saw her. So again, they took almost like an ownership of her. And on cold days when she wouldn't be in the window, customers will call us and say, is the cat okay? Why isn't she in the window? Well, it's because it's 2 and, it's cold and she's an old cat. Additionally, pictures of our dad. Our parents opened the flower shop initially. Our dad is 96 years old and still comes into our store every single day. Until very, very recently, he came and would deliver weddings with me. He still wants to deliver flowers for the holidays. And so we are very selective as to what tasks we put forth for him. But again, there is that ownership of the community who, because coming from a large family, he is a very recognizable face. He too is quite the character. And anytime there is an opportunity to sort of use our dad in that capacity, we will take advantage of it because he loves it and it works out very well. It is that connection to people's emotions. So our tagline is, we turn your feelings into flowers. And so if we have an opportunity to make someone feel something, we will certainly take advantage of it.
I love that old school approach, right? In a digital world, right? Where you can share out those family connections and people become connected with you that way. And hopefully you're paying your dad well for the use of his.
Well, we haven't discussed royalties, so.
So let's pivot to non-digital, right? This is this is kind of going back a little bit, but there's still some room, I think, for print and non-digital marketing. So Jonathan, do you guys still dabble in that area?
Still do. You know, I'm not a huge fan of print, but I think that print can be done in the right places. I'll do like, you know, networking magazines. I won't do like the traditional retail ones. You know, there's always those retail ones that have like recipes and stuff in there, which basically become more ads really than anything. I'm more focused on networking magazines. The Chamber of Commerce is always a big home run for us. I'm on our local council for that. So I always find that to be, you know, very successful. And, you know, if any of you haven't gotten involved in your local chambers or have that opportunity, that definitely is a great place to start to get some B2B. I've got some awesome B2B opportunities out of that. So if you're not utilizing that, you definitely need to start, you know, being somewhat active in it.
Great, thank you. Leah, how about you on non-digital marketing?
We too are very active with the Chamber of Commerce. We have a wonderful partnership we have created with them. And we do some print ad, but it is not traditional print ad. So when our local high school is having a play and they're printing a program, we will take an exceptionally affordable ad out in that, and that again is that connection to our community that has worked out very, very well for us, because we feel that given the opportunity to have people recognize that we grew up in our hometown and that we now own the business there, again, it's that long-term connection.
For sure. And Stacy?
So we recently, and I think I already let the cat out the bag, so to speak.
No, that was Leah that had the cat.
I know. But no, I told you guys about the postcard program that we started recently. We learned about it on one of the FTD webinars not too long ago, where we put a little information on our shop and offer a $5 off coupon. And we put that on every arrangement that goes out the door, except for our sympathy arrangements, of course. We also have partnerships with our Chamber of Commerce here in DC. And we also are sit on a lot of boards and commissions in the city, and we meet a lot of people that way and get a lot of return business from that as well.
Excellent, excellent. So Leah, let's talk about your website. So you know, how effective is it for you, and do you manage it yourself?
I do manage it ourselves. We find it to be very, very easy to manipulate. So it allows us to change things out when I thought we had a lot of sunflowers, so you sort of feature those on your website, and then in a very short time later, they're all gone, but you have a lot of different lilies. And so you to kind of switch things out. It makes our website look very different each time someone is going to return to it, and it helps us rotate stock and keep things fresh. So we have found that making sure that, again, there is that personal connection. So we have stories about the flower shop, including pictures of the weddings we have done, because brides and their families love to see that they are included in your sort of history. So we have found it to be quite effective.
Excellent. You answered my follow-up question without even being prompted. So I appreciate that. And that was,
you're welcome.
And that was, you know, how do you keep that personal touch, right? When you're not actually standing in front of somebody. So I appreciate the feedback on that. I think that's really important because it can get lost, I think, in a website experience for the consumer. Stacy, how do you guys manage your website, and how does it work for you?
We have one of our key employees. She manages the website, makes sure that, we we kind of scaled it back, especially during the holidays, because you don't want to offer too many products to have too much inventory. So we simplified it for production and profitability. We're currently building a more personalized website, more like a landing page that can show some of our event work and weddings and things like that. So, but we met, we work with our webmaster to manage it.
So do you offer some of your own designs on there, and do you do your own photography and
Yes.
and offer those?
Yes, we went out and bought a ring light, and we set up a little studio in one of our rooms to take photos of our own designs. So that's really good to have your own designs on your website. So
Sure, I
people
would
can
imagine
have
it.
choice.
Yeah, it allows you to provide your own style, right? And
Absolutely.
is there a piece of inventory control in that as well, so that you're probably aligning yourself with flowers that you would normally carry and things like that?
Yes, yes, we do. And one of our hottest sellers are orchid plants. And so we took our own, took our own photos and images and posted them on our website, and we can't keep them in the store.
That's great.
Yeah.
Jonathan, how about you guys? Who manages your website, and do you guys do some of your own custom work as well?
I think I got to talk to my dad about getting a raise here. I do that too. I do that too. But we've had somebody build the site, but we can maintenance it on the back end, which is very important. So you want kind of like a turnkey website, even if you're just starting out. You want something that you can easily manage, like Leah said, that if you have excess product, you can easily change it. If you need to funnel down at a holiday, same thing. I mean, one of the things that we'll do is pay attention to pricing throughout the year, especially on a holiday. If we see something is selling and we think that we can maybe get another $5, another $10 out of that item because the popularity of it has risen on the site, we're doing stuff like that, and that's not something that we had done before. That's a more recent practice. We are utilizing our own pictures, but only from weddings, only from professional wedding photographers. We have a nice wedding gallery on the site that we're utilizing that. Otherwise, we're utilizing the images from FTD so that the look is a little more consistent. There is no pricing on the wedding items either, which is always important because that pricing is constantly changing, as we all know. So, those items are really there for customers to come and get an education on that.
Excellent. So when you say it can be very nimble, so you're going through a holiday, a peak period. If you do run out of an item, can you pull it that easily off the website?
Yeah, you can. I mean, the website that we have is through WordPress. You easily can. You can also set product quantities as well too. So if you have codified containers and we say, okay, we're going to sell 6 of these, or we're going to sell 24 of these online. This is what we're targeting. It'll mark itself sold out, which will save you a lot of headaches as well too. So if you have a website, or you're building a website, or you're looking into a new website, you definitely want something that is turnkey, that you can easily have access to, adjust pricing, adjust stock, funnel down, maybe close down some sections. What we'll do on a holiday is, like, if it's spring, then we don't want anybody to pick a Christmas item. We want Christmas completely blocked, for that time of year. So just some small, simple things like that can save you a lot of headaches down the road.
So you then reduce your selection do you reduce it as you get closer and closer to the actual peak of the holiday?
Yeah, that's the idea. As you start funneling in, just like FTD is doing, we're doing almost the same thing on a smaller scale. We're finding, what we have available, or we're utilizing your drop-ins as well too on some of those things. So, we're going to try to sell those drop-ins because they're already made and they're ready to go out the door. I'll try to funnel down to maybe about 12 selections on the last day and a half, for those last minute people, kind of like, all right, take what you can get now at this point. So I think we can all appreciate that. But I think it's all a matter of is what you're available to do. If you're not too crazy busy, then you should leave your selections. If you have the product sitting in the cooler, then you should definitely be leaving your selections up for people to pick. If you're really busy, you're already paying people overtime, you should be narrowing it down, and whatever you have prepared for or whatever you have a lot of, start moving as items.
Excellent. All right, so last question we have today for the panel is it's about communicating with your customers. So before the holiday, you've done a lot of marketing, you've communicated with those customers. Maybe you've earned some new customers, won some new business during the holiday. How do you work with those new customers to generate future orders? Leah, we'll start with you.
Well, one of the things that we do, if any person comes into our store and tells us that they've received flowers or that they have sent flowers and they were pleased with the experience, we always thank them. And it is a genuine and heartfelt thanks, particularly since the start of COVID. So many people have been looking for a connection to smaller business. So to have a small business say, thank you, your sale has positively and directly impacted my business, really shows them the power of their dollar and where they are spending it. So that is the first thing. The second thing that we do is, again, we sort of under promise and over deliver. So if a person comes to us and says that the flowers he is sending to his wife needs to be delivered before 2 o'clock because she needs to leave work to get their child off a bus, we make sure that the flowers are delivered by about 12:30. So he knows that we listened to what he said, and there's a comfort level. They didn't arrive at 1:45 when she is heading out the door and is going to sort of get the flowers tossed to her as she runs to her car. So we want to make sure that we listen to the requests of the customers, and whenever possible, we will I wouldn't say necessarily go above and beyond, but if we can say yes, we try to find a way to.
For sure. Yeah, I think customers definitely appreciate that. Stacy, how do you guys communicate and generate future orders?
Well, once we capture our customers, well, each order that we take, we ask for an email address, and we reach out with informational emails, like on plant care and weddings, wedding images, also training. So we don't just always try to get sales with our emails. We thank our customers all the time with our emails. So we reach out to them, and like Leah said, we're so grateful for every customer, and so we send them emails all the time, just thanking them for their business and what they do.
Let them know, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And Jonathan, please take us home. How do you guys, communicate with your customers?
Your personal touch in your business is huge. So when for example, when brides send us pictures back, we'll tag them, on social media, and there they are, on our social media with center stage on that. We'll send emails out, just like the lady said. We'll build that database. We'll gather emails, and retaining customers is obviously the biggest thing. And like Leah said, if people have a great experience, we want to keep them. There's no reason why they should call anybody else. We want them to continue calling us, or if we do their wedding, then we want them to come back and do the baptism. We want them to come back and do the first birthday. We want them to come back and do their 25th anniversary years down the road. So constantly keeping your brand out in front of people is really big. And if people are going to come to you for major life events, funerals, weddings, they're very confident in you to begin with. And especially when you pull it off to success, that's a great way to keep people for a long time. Retaining that information, and like Leah said, marking things like somebody likes this or somebody needs that. It's very important. People see a personal touch, and I think people value that a lot. They obviously know that any flower shop they're buying from is a small business. We're not the Walmarts of the world. We're just regular people. No matter how big our shop is, we have 2 people or we have 50 people. We're not competing. We're not a major brand. We're not Nike. So, I think people really appreciate that. And I think it's awesome what these ladies said is that, it is very true. Those purchases, your customer purchases affect what happens to you today and what happens to you down the road. So maintaining those people is definitely good, and just keep constantly doing a good job.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think with a little bit of effort, as you're saying, I think you'll surprise a lot of customers that you do know some of those special things about them and what their likes are or dislikes. And,
Mhm.
they may just be shocked, right, when you have that personal touch. So, well, that wraps our questions, our planned questions. So we may have a few questions from the attendees. Janet, do we have any questions out there?
We do. Thank you guys for sharing some more great insights this week as well. We do have a few questions. So everyone mentioned that they use social media. Does anyone create a calendar beforehand with the content for social posts? And when would you make that?
I do. I make it early, usually about a month before the holiday, because it is done and I don't have to think about it. And then I can always add to it. So that it may mean that we may have several posts throughout the day, but it is an opportunity that if I have an incredibly busy day, I can make sure that we still have had that moment of touch.
Pre-planning. Jonathan or Stacy, anything to add?
For us, it's a little bit, oh, go ahead, Stacy. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, ours is more real time. We just post as we make, if something is extra special, we'll post it, or weddings or something, extra special, we'll post it. But it's not planned per se.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Stacy there. A lot of the information that we get, back from brides or pictures of this or pictures that happens in real time. So I think it's a great idea, Leah. I might actually start that, just try to come up with, some ways to actually plan things out a little bit better than how it is. Cause I find a lot of times that we get a lot of content and then we go for a couple of days where we don't have any content. But a lot of times, like when we get it, we just get nailed with it. Like here's 4 pictures from 4 brides. Like, all right, now I've got all this, but you know what I mean? I can't do it all at one time. So
Surely.
it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, and I think one thing we've learned from the 3 of you, right, is you all wear many hats, like many business owners and many florists do. So I think any pre-planning certainly is good.
Oh, guys, I just wanted to show you, this is the postcard that we developed, and it has some the QR codes on the back for plant care and flower care. So just, and it has the $5 off. So just wanted to, yeah.
Great, thanks for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Janet, any other questions?
Yeah, we've got some more. Social is definitely the interest. Does anyone create video content for your social channels? And if you do, is it created a kind of along the same lines? Is it created in advance or on the fly during the week of the holiday?
Yes, to both of those.
Yeah.
We try to have sort of that organic moment. Usually that's when something crazy is happening in our store, but we will also do like a little how-to. If it's the winter holidays, how to make a bow. Bows are huge, so we may show that once or twice throughout the holiday season. So it is yes to actually both of those.
Jonathan or Stacy, is it you guys do things on the fly or?
On the fly mostly for us with the social media and the videos. Yeah.
Great.
I find I use less videos. I find I use a lot, more of the, more stills than I do with the videos. I just find it's faster, and probably, should probably plan out to do, some more video, but I just find that, all the hats that we wear throughout the course of a day, it's so much easier to just throw up a picture there, and especially Instagram, where we just have to kind of throw up the picture and just let it talk for itself. Facebook, you got to spell it all out. So, but that's definitely something to look into. And but yeah, we just pretty much use the stills, and it's all on the fly.
ahead.
And I think the most important part there, right, is to stay active, right, and just keep that continual contact, with your followers, right? To drive orders, drive business.
Mhm.
And diversifying that too is nice too. Like you don't want the same message, cookie cut, for Facebook, for Instagram, for Twitter. I'm not on TikTok, but if you have TikTok, whatever is going to be the new thing, you want all those things to be different because there's different people looking at those things. So I always try to change them up, change the message up a little bit on all that stuff.
Yeah, well, great feedback. Janet, how are we doing on questions?
We've got, Krista had another long question, but before we jump into that, I did want to mention for those that are on here, we are working on pulling together another 3-part series. It'll be on social media, a workshop this summer that we are working on with Kristen Naher of Bootcamp Digital, who has been a presenter for us on our business webinars on social media and things like that over a number of years now. So keep your eyes peeled for that info coming up. And then Krista had asked earlier that she was interested to hear more about how each shop feels about paid social media promotions like Facebook's ad manager, any experiences, likes or dislikes.
All right, panel, who can best answer that one?
We did try the paid Facebook enhancements years ago. We just haven't, we couldn't tell whether it was beneficial, so we haven't done that, and we rely on the people that we reach organically.
Haven't done a boosted post in a long time, but our social media has grown, over the course of the last couple of years. So I think if you're going to do it, you can't expect an instant return on that. I mean, social media is really pretty much brand building and just keeping, creating white noise and keeping your name out there. So, if you were looking for an instant return, that probably isn't the best place to spend your money. But if you we're looking to kind of build the brand out or build that audience that's watching that's a perfect way to do it. And, pretty cost effective way to say that, hey, I have an extra, $25 or $35, whatever it is that you have. It's not an expensive way to get, a great post out there. But I think it's more, building for the future than it is for an immediate response.
Mhm.
Great, thanks. Janet.
All right. And I know there was a question about any tricks to getting good photos for social media. And I know Jonathan jumped in the chat and said you get some from your event and wedding professionals. I don't know if anybody else has any other tips for that.
Invest in the light box.
Right.
Really good lighting. And there are opportunities to purchase them that they're cost effective. And remember, less is more. So it's something you have to sort of play with. We have found that whenever we have the opportunity to have a professional photograph, that's why they do what they do and I do what I do. They are so much better at it than I am. I bow to their awesomeness.
Mhm.
All right.
That
Back to you,
looks-
Janet. Anything
That's
else?
probably it. Yeah, we're out of questions. Just thank you everyone for attending. A recording will be available on demand on the FTD Mercury Network Florist YouTube channel, easily accessible through ftdi.com. If you did miss last week's, the first session, that's already available and posted on ftdi.com. That's the place I'm going to tell you to go for more education programming from us. You can go to ftdi.com and register for upcoming free webinars and design shows, as well as viewing those past education programs that are on demand. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.